Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mother, hold our hand, take us from unreal to real, from ignorance to bliss, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Jai Guru, welcome and good evening on this beautiful evening, and looking forward to prepare yourself and myself towards this Sunday session. And the great thing is, beautiful topics which are coming up presented to us, and more and more and more the world is waking up, and this is Vedanta. And this Vedanta is like, as it appears to me, it appeared to me the other day at the end of the meditation, and as I was reading something, that this Vedanta is like a finishing school. You are aware of the concept of finishing school. After the school, children, before they go to the colleges, they're giving all kind of skills. So in International Baccalaureate IB, they also have those who are not the academic type, but there is a finishing school will come up for them to develop all kind of skills oriented, called career profile. So career oriented, finishing school, developing character, skills, various, so that they are, even if they are good, intelligent children and boys who would focus, but not really don't want to study and write, and so they can also get successful. And those children who are good in studies and etc., they will get even more focus. Vedanta, it appears to me, is just like that finishing school. You know, this truth is so powerful, but unfortunately you and I have not been taken across with the knowledge, the wisdom, and this is what we pray, that Divine Mother take us from unreal to real. What we think is real is really not real. The unreal to real. What is reality? Reality is the truth within us, and towards which, in this concept, I wish to take you across to this, the most powerful concept ever is called Astavakra Samhita. You know this Astavakra? Crooked body, 8 ways his body was broken. And he was the guru of the Janaka. And he was enlightened and Janaka was enlightened. Both were enlightened. And this Samhita is a dialogue between Astavakra and Janak Maharshi. Powerful. Today we are going to talk about only one tiny bit, is the concepts of attachment, towards which what is happening is, you know, this attachment is like, Paramahamsa Ramakrishna tells the story that some villagers were standing by and watching. The river was in flood, and naturally it had swept over some villages and it was taking away lots of things. And one villager, good in swimming, he happened to see one wonderful looking rug blanket is being swept away. So he said, why let it go waste? I'll go and catch it. So he saw mightily, went deep, and as he went near, tried to catch it, he found it was not a rug, a blanket. It was a bear. And as you know, bear is also being swept away. He also wants to save his life. So he catches hold of him, this swimmer. And all the guys from the shore is shouting, Hindi mein, Kambal ko chhod do, nahi to aap bhi, you'll be also swept away. And this man shouts back, मैंने तो कंबल छोड़ दिया, कंबल मेरे को नहीं छोड़ रहे. And this is what is called our desires, our ignorance is caught hold of us. Today, something very simple, and it is happening to yours and my life every day. One of my driver who has been with me, who was just a lift operator, he used to get just about 3,000 rupees from the society. From there, we took him on, we trained him, he became a driver, and he was doing a wonderful job. This gentleman, for the last about a week or so, he didn't want to come to work anymore. Otherwise, a very good guy, very nice, honest person. Name is also very good. So I had called for him. I said, what has happened? Now, he had met with an accident about a year and a half back, and his back got a little injury. Now, their mind, and being bombarded by some doctors also, relatives also, and he says, I have that back injury is paining. So I have been told that you've done enough of work. He is very young. He can't be more than 48, 50, 51, 55. I should take bed rest. I said, listen, your back injury can easily be healed. Come, I will send you to some good orthopedic doctor. He said, Sab, what he said in English is, I'm talking about the reality. Asliyat ka baat bol raha hu. Hai sir injury. So I told him this story. Which story? Not the bear rug story. I told him, there is a great monk who used to live in Tapovan, which is north of Gangotri. And all the monks of India, particularly of Himalayas, they would go down to him and they would live with him and learn Vedanta. So one day, and it is what? It is totally wild and totally frozen, very cold. But this great monk Maharaj used to always live there. Even in the winter season, he would stay there. Now the monks who would come from lower down, now they were all there with him. It was a nice summer season, beautiful snow-peak mountain, green valleys, river Ganga flowing down. Now the TV crew from New Delhi went down there to do a little shooting on these monks and to send it to people like you and me through the television. This is how the monks live, how difficult their life is, and how tough their sadhana is. So they went down to do the shooting. So they took Maharaj's permission. Maharaj never seen a TV. He's always been in the mountain. And in that, he's asked them, TV kya hai? So they had carried a portable generator. They cranked up the generator, they connected the TV and pointed the TV video camera towards the river Ganga. And there comes in the TV, Maharaj and all the monks are seeing in the TV, the river Ganga is flowing by, and it's even Kalkal awaz of the river is nice smooth river. It wasn't a flood time. It's floating by. And Maharaj was so excited. He said, wow, sab kuch dikhta hai. So he gave his lota to the director. He said, thoda sa Ganga pani do na. He thought the river which is flowing by in the river, the director can get some water from there also. The director smiled. Apparently he knows lots of things and this Maharaj is ignorant. He said, Maharaj, ये सब कुछ दिखता है, असलियत पे नहीं है. The Maharaj looked at the director. He stood up and turned around and looked at all the monks. He said, he told all the Maharaj, all the monks, ये सब पहाड़ पर्वत गंगा मैया आप लोग हम सब कुछ दिखता है, असलियत पे नहीं है. I told this story to the driver. I said, आपको जो लगता है वो थोड़ा सा इंजरी होगा, उसको हील हो सकता है. उसको आपको जिंदगी को बर्बाद मत करने दो बिस्तर में पड़े हुए. But you and I have been so beautifully conditioned we don't wish to take on to the truth. And this is what comes in more enumeration with so many ways of understanding it. So Astavakra Gita, Samhita, and this was translated in English by Thomas Byron. This is The Heart of Awareness, a beautiful book. We will share with you more on detail on Sunday. Today I want you to realize this Astavakra Samhita. Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he taught this only to Swami Vivekananda. And initially Vivekananda didn't want to read it. Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he had his ways. He said, okay, you don't read it, you read it for me. Read it to me. I want to listen to it. And Vivekananda, in his talk in Europe, in America, especially America and California and the Western coast, his number 2 talk was, talking about such powerful language. And when you look at it carefully, then you see it is all from Astavakra Gita. And he took to Astavakra Gita. He went around many places of the world. He always carried Astavakra Gita. Many monks, you've heard of Swami Sarvapriyananda. He says he was in Himalaya for 3 years in the same Gangotri Gomukhi. He's talking about this story. He says, I always carried my Astavakra Samhita. This is that powerful. There are texts in Advaita Vedanta, in many other spiritual books, and Bhagavad Gita and Quran and Bible, etc. They're all talks messages to the heart, to our emotion, to our mind, to our intellect. Spiritual teachings go in. But Astavakra Gita bypasses it. It's a bypass straight to the highway track and talks directly to the God within you and me. Directly to the God. It is like looking straight into the sun. It's very difficult to look straight into the sun. And it is like Astavakra Gita reading it straight into the sun. See, you can look into the moon. It's very pleasant light. It is also the same sunlight, but it is because it is reflected from moon, it becomes very pleasant and cool. But Astavakra Gita is like a sun, glaring, and it is direct to you and me, to the divinity within us, to the divine, the supreme God, the consciousness. That is called Tat Tvam Asi. It doesn't, Astavakra Samhita doesn't have argument. It is not trying to prove anything. It is not giving you any logic. It takes you straight to the inescapable conclusion. Like other books in Advaita Vedanta takes you to that conclusion through logic, through question, through doing things. But Astavakra Samhita takes you straight to that conclusion. And it goes beyond that, straight to the truth. And truth alone tells you the central truth that you and I are none other than God. Aham Brahmasmi. Again and again and again, it continues to tell you. And that message, you must understand it. You have to really to recognize it, to know it, to become aware of it. It is like the 2022 Nobel laureate, 2023 Nobel laureate, 22 especially, talked about this world is not real. Nobel laureate quantum science is telling you and me today, this world is not real. World is not real, this table is not real, that glass of water, my husband, my wife, my children, my building, my family, my bank account, my job is not real. This world is not real. And I've covered it this last Sunday. I'll touch upon it here today if I have a little time. Basically, it is taking you straight to the truth. The truth is the unreality, so-called. Just recognize it within yourself, the truth, the purity. And this truth is straight in Samhita, like looking into the sun. You know, it is something, it is nothing to be practiced. It is not to do something. I remember a long time ago when we started Advaita Vedanta, one of our very well learned devotee, and he was a great MTech from United States, and he listened, he liked it very much, and he asked me at the end of it, "Sir, all right, we love it, we want to get the benefit. What do we have to do?" And this is what exactly Samhita is answering, that it is to be realized. We don't have to do anything. You and I don't have to do anything to become a human being. Isn't it? To be a man or a woman. We are. You say, but that's only genetical and body. Just imagine. This is what is from the physical practicality to the power, the spirit of the so-called realization of the truth. And it is that taking us away from the attachment of the body and not for doing. And this reason, where the great sage Astavakra is having a dialogue with Emperor Janaka, and both of them being an enlightened, it is talking about the poem I am going to talk about on the attachments, taking on from Astavakra Samhita, just that part of it. I will read it out to you. The first verse. Astavakra vacha nate sangho stite nati kin shuddha shastaya michayate Sangata vilayam kurvan evam evo layam raja. Again, Astavakra vacha. Astavakra is telling. Nate sango site nate kin shuddha shastaya michyate Sangata vilayam kurvam evam eva layam vraja. Those of you and me who are not very good in Sanskrit, very simple. English says, you are never attached to anything in your life. Astavakra is not telling us, don't get attached. Detach yourself. Build detachment. Astavakra is saying, you are not attached. It's like the three Nobel laureates saying this world is not real. This is what Bertrand Kastrup and Rupert Spira is talking about. We do not understand how the Western mind, and who in turn has influenced China, India, everybody else in the world, that this world is this body, mind, name. They think, how can it be they do not realize that it is the only consciousness with which you can see, hear, touch, smell, and which is Ishvara, which is God. Astavakra is saying, you are that consciousness, that Tattam. And he's saying, this body-mind complex, it dissolves into infinity the moment you begin to understand what is it. So this is never attached to anything in life. And this is what the great monk in the Himalayas says, सब कुछ दिखता है, असलियत पे नहीं है. Reminds me of a little, you've heard about Mullah Nasiruddin. Mullah Nasiruddin was very intelligent, very smart. Lots of good stories about Nasiruddin, funny stories. This one I have shared with you all some time back. Mullah Nasiruddin, in those days, they used to take things in the horse's cart, mule cart, and used to do trading from one country to the other. The custom officer those days on the border, and they knew that they will take out, steal something, to check whether it is all correct or not. They knew Mullah was very smart, very intelligent, very crooked, and he is taking something which is not correct. But they could never find him. And years after years, Mullah's main profession, he used to do that, he used to go, lots of goods, he will go there, everything they will check at the border, custom official could never catch which is not as per paper. And it went on. Eventually, the custom official became old and he retired. And it was in that little town, village. One day he was having a little cup of tea, retired person, came from home to have a cup of tea. And he found Mullah Nasiruddin also having a cup of tea. So he goes to Mullah Nasiruddin and said, Mullah, can I join you? He said, yes, please sit. He said, see, I know you were cheating the government. You were doing something wrong. But I could never catch you. What is it? What is it that you were taking away? The Mullah smiled and said, I was taking away the donkeys. See, custom officer was looking at the goods, looking at this physical objects and those various items and looking at the paper. He never looked at the donkey. It was right in front of his nose. This is what is happening to you and me. Right in front of our nose. We are there. We are doing things, tasting, teaching, learning, sensing, enjoying, eating, sleeping, all with this consciousness, which is Ishvara. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, Taittiriya Upanishad. But we are not connecting with it. And when Nobel laureate from quantum science is talking about, we're waking up. World is waking up. Harvard Divinity School, David Clooney is talking about Vedanta. NYU, New York University, David Chalmers talking about Vedanta. You and I have time to wake up and do a little understanding and reading and change our very lifestyle. I'll give you one clue, and with which we today's session, it was the punchline of the last Sunday. You know what they're talking about in that they called it double slit experiment, the 3 Nobel laureates who got the Nobel Prize. What they found that there are, as you know, light waves. They found it was light was a wave, like sound wave, but light also operated like a particle. But any object in our life that we see, whether the human body or the animals or the wood or the furniture or the car or the book or the diamond or the money, if you break it down, it comes to tiny bits of molecules, atom, and atom is a particle. And atom is localized, it's a single. Whereas a wave is spread over, it is traveling, right? So, they found in their experiment that the particles are becoming waves. They said, how can an object particle become wave? So they scientists naturally, they wanted to find out how is the wave changing into particle or particle into wave. And they discovered one detector. So they had those double detectors, and they put the detectors and they let the particle, and they wanted to, detector was like a camera to catch the particle. Where does it change into wave and where does it change from wave to particle? You know what, something, if the particle had the last laugh, the particle remained a particle, it didn't change into wave. And the Nobel laureate found when there is no detector, the moment they remove the detector, they remove the spyglass, the particle becomes a wave. They were surprised. It is like as if a child who is being watched by a teacher or a parent behaving very well. And the moment parent is not at home or teacher is not there in the class, everybody is doing masti, right? As if the particle knew. So they did the discovery, and their discovery, I'll go straight to the punchline, that a wave remains a wave but changes into particle the moment you witness it, the moment you observe it, the moment you look at it, the moment you look at it, the moment wave changes into particle. How do we utilize it in this? So the thought waves, our imagination, our prayers, when you go into the meditative state, in your final meditative state, imagine yourself that you're not your body, not your mind, not your dream sleep, not your deep sleep. You are in that consciousness, which is you. Aham Brahmasmi, that light, I am that light. And in that light, whatever you have prayers, wishes, for somebody, for yourself, for dreams and vision, plant that seed. And you watch how it will come into reality. Naturally, you will ask a question. All right, very nice. Why isn't everybody doing it? You know why? Because they don't believe in it. But you watch the truth. The Nobel laureate, what they talked about it. This is how we utilize science and Vedanta together. They are not separate. Science is at the footstep of Vedanta, but taking you to that. And Bhagavad Gita is telling so. Bible has talked about it, and Vedanta is talking about it. What is that? If you want to get something in your life, dream about it, wish for it, work towards it. Yes, you have to dream, and then you have to work towards it. Yes, you want to get a Wimbledon gold. Yes, you have to learn tennis, you have to practice hard, and you have to work. And you will possibly get the gold. Are you with me? Whatever you and I are today, whatever profession, a businessman, teacher, scientist, IT professional, or parent, or children, just imagine, look at it. Whatever we are doing today, we had wished for it, thought about it, knowingly, unknowingly. Reflect. With that thought, I leave you to the join on Sunday further session with Astavakra Gita. Jai Guru.